Welcome to the Cincy Postcast. I'm Kevin Wallace, and before we get started with today's episode, I want to tell you about our dear friends over at Streetside Brewery, who are just about to celebrate their 9th birthday. That is right. The 9th anniversary party is happening on Saturday, September 27th. Kicks off at 10 a.m. Okay, this is going to be so much fun. So they're over in Columbia, Tusculum, East End area. It is a fantastic spot. You got to go check it out if you have not, and shame on you if you have not. It is, like I always say, one of the best, if not the best brewery in the city. Okay, they are doing all sorts of fun stuff on this one. They have special barrel-aged releases. They've done special collaborations. Craft Burger Bros is absolutely going to be there. There's live music. It is an all-day party. Okay, you are going to want to be there. They are doing yacht rock and funk from 3 to 5. There is all sorts of fun stuff. You're going to love it. Go check it out. It is absolutely worth your time. We love our friends over at Streetside. Go support them, okay? They've been keeping this show afloat for years now. So we got to do our part and help them, okay? That is a 9th anniversary party happening on September 27th. Go check it out. There is not a game on Saturday this coming week. So no excuses, okay? Huge thank you to Streetside for sponsoring this episode. And thank you, listener, for going and checking them out. And on today's episode, oh man, we get to talk about a win. 2 wins in a row. The offense is clicking. Brenner is flying. Evander with a hat trick of assists. It is awesome. This is so much fun. This team is looking good. Sure, they played a bad team in LA Galaxy, okay? I'm not ignorant to that fact. However, they haven't always done amazing against really bad teams. They also were on the road late at night, West Coast. Okay, that's a big deal to get this win, to keep the Supporters Shield race alive, and that is what we talk about in part 2. We look at all of the other contenders, weigh up their remaining schedule, see what's out there. Okay, it's a good time. I think you're going to enjoy this one. Sit back, enjoy the vibes of 2 wins in a row. It's a win streak, and it's the Postcast. Joining me to talk about all of that and more, I am joined by 2 gentlemen who, if they listened back to either podcast last week, would have been surprised by an addition to the podcast that they did not know was coming. I am joined by the Chief. I am joined by Grayson. Do either of you know what I am referring to?
Was like your cat able to be heard in the background on this episode?
No, there was a new ad read, Chief.
Yeah. Definitely. I heard that definitely.
Very exciting for us here at the Postcast.
What are we talking about?
So if folks do not know, and if folks includes Grayson, allow me to inform you that we picked up a new sponsor, folks, and that is, and I swear to God, U.S. Soccer, USSF, the folks behind the U.S. men's national team, the U.S. women's national team, the Open Cup, various youth national teams. Also, they are in charge of U.S. beach soccer, U.S. futsal, U.S. various...
What about foosball? Do they do that?
I don't know, but I'm not.
They
if
should.
It exists, it's probably under their purview.
If you can find a goal and put a ball in it, then they are involved in it.
Unless it's college, then they are very explicitly not involved whatsoever. But U.S. Soccer, we're teaming up with them. we are able to offer a couple of bucks off, a little percentage off of any of the apparel, the merchandise. There's some good stuff. They've got some retro collections out there. But yeah, you drop promo code POST, all one word. Not that you would make that two words, but all caps, POST. You get 10% off, and we get a small cut of the sale. So, help us out. You can buy some Rose Lavelle gear on there. I don't know if Roman has his own gear, but if he does, buy some Roman Celentano gear, okay? And that'll help us out.
Matt Miazga gear.
Should it exist?
Designated center back player Miles Robinson. I'm sure he's got some stuff on there.
Oh, yeah.
He definitely does. Now, it doesn't include kits, but there's a workaround here, and I know this because I used it. T-shirt jerseys, as we would call them. The T-shirt jersey is apparel, which counts. So I have a youth small DeAndre Yedlin and a youth small Serginho Dest
Kevin,
T-shirt.
I regret to inform you, I don't think either of those are going to fit you.
I'll post a picture. And get in it. I just don't know if it'll look good.
Yeah. On one leg.
my forearm would just rip the neck hole out. Yeah.
Exactly right. I got Rose Lavelle jerseys warming the guns right here on either side. Youth small.
But yeah, no, this is fun. It's exciting. It's real. I feel like we should emphasize that. So, yeah, it's not going to be forever. So
buy early, buy often.
Yeah, just wait until.
No, I mean,
we don't talk about the national team stuff really all that much.
We really don't.
Which, with the way things are going, it means we probably say the fewest mean things about the national team. Is like anybody
makes us one of the most positive podcasts out there for the cover soccer.
Exactly.
At least 1/3 of this podcast, huge fans of Miles Robinson. Okay.
I love Miles Robinson. Look, I love national team Miles Robinson because national team does not need to use a specific salary designation on Miles Robinson in order to make him part of the plans. That's awesome.
That is true. So long as they stop injuring Roman Celentano, I think we're on good terms with the U.S. men's national team.
They got it like half right because they did injure Sean Zawatsky.
If
we still haven't heard anyone deny that it was a fight between the two of them that got them both injured.
Hell is real in the locker room.
That would be what proper football right there.
Right. In it.
Club rivals go to the national team and then just get in a fight right away and hurt each other.
So good.
Yeah.
Both players would instantly be like whatever legend status that you already are on the team. It's one where it's like that's build the statue material. If like you're still standing on business for your club at a national team practice.
As much as it would pain me, it would also be very exciting if the U.S. was eventually like the national teams of, say, Germany and Spain, where essentially the entire team is made up of players from two teams that are rivals. A Real Madrid Barcelona team, a Dortmund Bayern team. A Columbus, Cincinnati-based U.S. men's national team would be very fun.
It would be very fun for multiple reasons, not the least of which that you think that all the right people are mad whenever the U.S. men's national team plays a big game in Ohio and just plays the game. Now imagine how mad they are when the entire roster is made up of players playing in Ohio.
They will build a national stadium in Dayton is how this actually ends up.
I'm seeing no flaws in this plan right here. This may, in fact, and you know what the funny thing is that is probably more likely to happen than they actually providing train service between Cincinnati, Dayton, and Columbus at any point.
Okay, you don't get trains, but will give you essentially a national team.
Can you imagine how insufferable MLS fans would be if they could ride like a 1.5 hour train to an away rivalry match?
Oh, like it's proper football.
You'd have to make their own train car.
Oh my God, yes.
Like
just being like the one business guy that's sitting there thinking, I bought the wrong ticket.
Right.
one business guy trying to work on emails, and just an hour 45 of ole.
Right. Yeah, it's an entire train car full of people and one incredibly angry person in a suit. And sitting next to Grayson is a businessman.
Also trying to get some work done. Yeah, whatever the opposite of the quiet car, right? You need the loud car. This is
the rowdy car.
Yeah. No, that's the Tampa Bay line.
Tampa Bay one, yeah.
Hey,
they don't do transit there either.
Well, they do have the one train that does seem hell-bent on killing people, so
buy some gear.
Okay, there's a link in the description, or if you go to go to the link and just use post, all one word, all
and
caps.
here's a real pro tip for you.
Ooh, please.
This is a serious tip, is that you can buy this gear now using the promo code POST, and you can still wear it during the World Cup next summer. You don't have to wait till the World Cup to buy your U.S. soccer gear. You can buy now and be ready for this upcoming summer when we get grouped.
And okay, whoa. And I promise you it'll be cheaper now.
Yeah.
So just how these things go, I would get in now. So
it's cheaper now for many reasons.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. What, any number of reasons why the costs of goods will go up over the next 6 months.
These are not made in the U.S.
No. Probably a good sign that we should pivot to FC Cincinnati before we get super, super canceled.
Probably a good time to do that. Folks will probably notice by now. No Evan tonight. This is a sign of the times. Obviously, it was
went Hollywood on us.
Yeah, obviously very exciting when he would get a sort of sporadic start. We'd love to have him on the podcast, and he's officially big time. So this is good. This feels good for him.
He also probably got back to Cincinnati at like 7 a.m.
Yeah, early, but not for the right reasons.
Yeah, no, my man is probably fully in bed right now. And it's well earned, Evan.
Yes, fair enough. If he is going to start for what could potentially be the last 3 matches of the regular season, that's fine. I need him recuperating, healthy, and getting right. So no problems there. Not that there would be a problem. That'd be really weird if we had a problem. Right. But no, we are here to talk about FC Cincinnati going on the road to LA Galaxy and getting a win. I will say a decisive win, despite the scoreline and the little red flag next to that scoreline, maybe indicating other things. I think this was overall a decisive victory. I think, Grayson, you would agree with me, and feel free to disagree. Probably better content if you disagree. This match in MLS play is the best the offense has looked all year.
Over a full game.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. I don't think it's wrong, and I think it's, even if you could quibble with it, I think it's true enough that it's true.
Yeah, there's some truthiness to it.
If it's not true, it's a top 3 performance, right?
Right. Yeah. Right. I thought the offense was really, really good, not just with the goals they scored, which
right,
were excellent in different ways, but it seemed like the offense, for the most part, was being actually really effective at moving the ball, getting the ball up into dangerous spaces. They'd run into a bad touch or a hesitation or a bad decision or something in the final third a lot. Yeah. So not all those came off, but just the amount of time they were able to just get the ball up to where you create scoring opportunities, that felt like a market change from prior matches.
Yeah. And where it showed the most, I thought, was that, number one, it was a complete game performance. It wasn't a situation where, we've had games where there's been a good half of offense and then, the next half looks unwatchable. This game from start to finish, they were pressing and they were looking for more opportunities. And I think that, not for nothing as well, this is the first game I've seen where consistently throughout the match they were willing to counterattack. They were willing to push numbers forward. Pat was not happy with how aggressive they got at times, and he made that known in the press conference. But I think that in this match, you saw the impact directly of having someone like Sammy Yeedy on the field as opposed to Brian Anunga. And also you saw the immediate impact of having Ender Echenique on the field playing down the right side, where he's just more aggressive at running into space than Mark Zook is, or even DeAndre Yedlin before them. And it can be frustrating because Ender seems a little boom or bust in any given moment, but he has the incredible speed and change of pace to at any point be goal dangerous when the ball is in the attacking third. And I think the switch in the lineup to put those two players in specifically makes this team more dangerous. And the third thing that I think, where I agree with you on this, Kevin, is that you're now seeing what this team looks like, where they've had Brenner in training and in the team facility for 3-4 weeks now.
Yeah.
And fully integrated in what they're doing. And the chemistry between him and Evander is very, very real at this point.
Yeah. This is an off-season problem, but, I was super excited to have Brenner back. Obviously, I think it's fun. I think it's exciting. Now, after this game, and we'll see how the rest of the season goes, I'm already like, how do we get him back? I don't know how we get him back. I gotta have him back. I gotta figure out how we do this.
Yeah, I was thinking about that from a roster standpoint, and there's one obvious challenge, which is transfer fee plus salary, amortized over the course of his contract. It's going to be very difficult, or you would think it'd be very difficult. Maybe something's already worked out. I don't know, but you would think it'd be very difficult to get that number below the max TAM threshold, so that you could buy him down off of the DP status. And that seems like it's going to be a tough. But the other one that I think I've seen some people, we've even talked about in the Discord a bit, is that the 4 U22 slots. Like, if we like Mark Zook, do we and we want to bring him back, is him being the 4th U22 with the other 3 guys all under permanent contract already right now, is that going to be a big obstacle to that deal? And I think they could probably buy down Echenique pretty easily if they needed to get down to 3 DPs and not lose any of the 4 of them, because Echenique's reported transfer fee is like fairly low, and I expect his salary is in like the 300s a year.
So it would be irresponsible to be paying him like $900,000 a year.
Given his profile.
You could. You absolutely could.
No,
it's unlikely.
Because he's a U22.
So like, let's say 780.
Yeah.
Like, I think it would be silly to pay him $780,000 a year.
Right.
Because he just doesn't have the kind of profile that you would expect to demand that.
Right.
But, and then, if they didn't want to buy down Echenique for whatever reason, you can see that maybe maybe they find a loan destination for Gilberto Flores or something. But I don't think people should worry about the U22 model, although that is already out the window, right, with the Miles Robinson deal.
Yeah, barring some other deal that, moves either Denkey or Evander, which,
right.
At this point last year, we weren't thinking Lucho Acosta was going to force his way out of a deal. So I think there's no rumors to that effect at this point that anyone's on the move or that any offers have been made, but just, the off season can get a little it can get a little sideways sometimes.
One other thing I want to mention here, and I think it's a little misleading, but the roster profiles went out this week.
That's right.
They identify on like every team, like who's on a TAM contract, who's a U22, who's a designated player. And it also says the length of the contract. And for loan players, they include, what they do is they put down contractual years that that would apply if the permanent transfer option is executed, because they usually have a contract already negotiated with that player in the case they exercise the purchase option. Brenner did have a contract, like he did have years listed on his contract.
So there's something there already.
So there is something on paper. Now, there's a difference between the contract you agree to get the deal done.
Yeah.
Right. And then the contract that maybe needs to happen or somebody insists on by the time you actually execute the deal. Like we saw with Kevin Kelsey, Albright, for example, negotiated a purchase option that he knew was too high, but it got the loan in. It got the loan in, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, Brenner looks great, and I want to keep him forever.
So I had a thought on how we could keep Brenner, and I floated it in the text message. And the more the more I've thought about it today, the more I think there's a there. Because like what's always been funny to me about the Brenner situation is that we bought him for one thing from Sao Paulo, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. So we bought him from Sao Paulo. We sold him to Udinese for what, like 10 million euros, $10 million, something like that.
9 or 10 million. Yeah.
And so we're going to be taking him back if we buy him, which basically means that like the total cost of Brenner to Udinese is going to be 10 million minus whatever they get back selling him back to us. So we loaned him to Udinese for a couple of years. Like, so if let's say his purchase option to come back to Cincinnati is, we'll say $6 million.
Sure.
Which would make it impossible for him to be bought down from a designated player standpoint. Couldn't you in some way, like retroactively, just go back to the original transfer and, tear that original transfer up and tell Udinese, okay, instead of 10 million, we're really going to say that he only cost 5. And then on this new transfer, he's going to come for 1 instead of 6. And like, just make the math work so that you're forgiving money from the original sale in exchange for a lower price to buy him back. Like go back and like reopen the old deal to make the money work on that end so that you can get him here for cheaper and skirt the salary rules and skirt we didn't pay to bring him back. We only paid $1 million to bring him back.
So where I think this could be helpful is one of the remaining very murky parts of the MLS roster reveal. As we've gotten slightly more transparency, there's still definitely some areas where we don't. And one of those is annualized payments on transfer fees. It is very rare that a team will wire or cut a check for $18 million, $57 million for a player. They'll work out some sort of payment plan. Hell, half these teams don't have the cash flow to do a move like that as it exists. So it's very possible that we have not even been paid all of the money that is owed on the initial Brenner transfer already. So if you already bake in, say they've only paid 60% of that fee, then absolutely.
Just forget it.
Start,
The other thought I had too was that if that is too, we're going to get called out on that. I had another thought as well.
Okay.
We tell Udinese, to sue us in the court for arbitration for sport,
I like
saying
this.
that we defrauded them or we did something wrong in the original deal.
Oh, he was injured. We shipped him off injured.
We shipped him off injured, or like we we didn't mail his things to him, or we did something to him. We didn't tell them he needed a Portuguese translator, and he showed up and like didn't speak the language, and everyone was like speaking Italian, and he was standing there like, I don't know what's going on. Ciao, grazie. I don't know. I don't know what to do with my hands. And so they sue us, but we're in on it together. It's like, hey, file a lawsuit. And then what we'll do is we will, answer the lawsuit and say you're full of it. And then we'll agree to mediate the dispute. And we will give you back $4 million or $5 million from that deal and say we're settling the lawsuit. But then magically you will also announce, you know what? There's no market for Brenner. And because
also
no
Jimmy
one else.
Kimmel's fired.
Well, obviously. It's lawfare, okay? It's lawfare.
Is this how speed plays for us? I just want to make sure I'm getting this right. Okay.
Yeah. So what if they call Brenner like a fox in the box?
Yeah.
You can. I call this ploy the Knox in the box. We get Brenner framed for a crime in Italy. Udinese cancels the contract under the personal conduct clause, right?
Sure, absolutely.
Suddenly, new evidence arises.
Oh,
our boy's exonerated, and he's contract free. He can sign for. He can sign for whatever he wants.
My God, and we can sell the true crime docuseries to Apple TV, so everybody is winning in this deal.
Yeah,
so this is good.
I saw when I was watching the NFL today, and I saw an ad that 50 Cent is hosting a true crime series on Fox Nation. This seems like a perfect fit right here.
What if what if we 50 cents? I thought that's what Get Rich or Die Trying was.
Right. Wasn't that it?
Right. He's finally identifying all of the many men who wish death upon him.
Another option is to offer Brenner like kind of a low contract, but like cut him in on like producing a play for Broadway, right? But you spend so much money on the play that the insurance is like really, really high.
Right.
And you make it bad on purpose.
Okay.
I've seen this movie.
It closes the first day.
Right.
And you get the big insurance payout. And
Brenner what if it's accidentally,
Brenner was a producer.
What if it's actually a hit though?
Yeah, this is the problem. What if it's accidentally really good?
Oh, come on, man. Like Live Theater's dead. Just don't give it to Lin-Manuel Miranda. We'll be fine.
I don't know how, but Lacadia needs to be involved.
What we do instead is we get Kawhi Leonard to get him a job at that company out in California.
Right, planting trees to offset.
Trees, yeah. to deal with Brenner's like many environmental commitments and pledges. And he just happens to make 25-30 million there, and we just don't worry about the salary. It's $1 a year.
Just give him give him Nvidia at a discount.
Or Quibi.
Or just be like, oh, Brenner, turns out Brenner bought Nvidia in 2013.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Isn't that crazy? We just found this.
We actually paid his original salary in Bitcoin.
We've been hodling it this entire time for him, and look at how much money it's worth now. Wow.
There was an NFL player who was mocked for taking
Odell Beckham Jr., right?
Did he? He took a 1 year deal with somebody and had it all paid in Bitcoin. And
I think it was like a later year contract, so it was like not one of his bigger deals either.
But just slowly over time, that has like quickly increased in value in terms of 1 year contracts for wide receivers earnings. Like that one contract is worth quite a bit in retrospect.
There's like a Chinese restaurant in San Francisco that the customer years ago convinced them to start accepting Bitcoin and like helped set them up on like how to, receive Bitcoin transfers and stuff in exchange for food. And now this restaurant has made like more money operating a restaurant than like anybody else has like in the history of.
It's the most expensive plate of General Tso's chicken you're ever going to buy.
There's an all-time photo on the internet of a guy, I think he's in Norway, might have been American, where he bought a pizza with Bitcoin. And I want to say it cost him 19 whole Bitcoin to buy this pizza, which today is like a $30 million pizza.
Cool.
Tough.
But it was probably delicious. So, I mean, who's the real loser here?
Well, he got a pizza.
Yeah, I mean, he got
fair.
something, right? That's the thing.
He was hungry. Problem solved.
Oh, speaking of hungry, man, the attack in this game was hungry all game. I absolutely love seeing it. I have to admit,
should we do the lineup first before we get too deep into this?
We should, because this is very funny. So I'll read. Before we read the lineup, I got to say, I have to be the only person who did this one. I was very excited for this game. I was hyped for this game all day. I was staying up late for this game, saw the lineup drop, was very excited, and tweeted about it. Turns out I stepped on the toes of our new social media admin, by the way, Sean, been killing it recently. And Sean messaged me and says, hey, I can actually live tweet the game if you want. He originally wasn't going to be able to. I told him, no, don't worry about it. I got it. And then, Chief, I fell asleep and I missed the entire first half and woke up and watched the second half. I have to be the only person who slept through a half of this game, and it was the first half of the game that I missed. I did eventually go back and watch the first half. Very fun. I very, very much missed a very fun half of soccer. But the lineup is the reason why I was more hyped than ever, because I think to a person, it is exactly what Grayson asked for on the last episode, which is a little concerning, but we got it. So the lineup was Evan in goal, of course. Angle is your left center back. Hagland in the middle. Miles Robinson as your right center back. Luca Orishano as the left wing back. Ender Echenike as your right wing back. With Samuel Guidi getting his first start alongside Pavel Buka. Evander just ahead of them with Brenner and Denkey up top. Grayson, you got what you wanted. How did it feel?
I felt pretty good. I'm not sure I had it exactly this way, but this is conceptually definitely in line with what I wanted to see. I think there may have been, I don't remember if we knew Lucas Engel was available or not.
I think that's right. I think you had called for Hadebe under the assumption that Engel was not available.
Yeah. But yeah, regardless, I thought it looked, offensively it looked pretty good. I know Noonan was very critical of it, but I think that you kind of, the way I thought about these last two games was the last two wins especially, is they weren't perfect. They were obviously good results, and the team obviously earned both of them, but they felt kind of like games that we wanted to see kind of earlier in the season, where you clearly see them like working through the kinks of an attack, but like still making a little bit of mistakes, but you still see them doing a lot of attacking and kind of see how they can be dangerous, right? And this game was kind of the same, because I think we saw exactly from both wingbacks, for example, how they could be dangerous. We saw what Sammy Guidi can bring that maybe we haven't had next to Buka all year, right?
Yeah.
And then we saw some stuff that we saw plenty of stuff to be worked on, not just like individual choices like Pat called out, but I think how can we get Echenike in a position where he's like effective more consistently and for longer?
Yeah.
But man, I feel like there was a lot there,
There was a lot there, and it was an aggressive lineup play where Echenike is in his top moments is going to offer you more going forward than Mark Zook would. Guidi is going to offer you more going forward than a Nunga would. Brenner is obviously going to offer you more going forward than Kamara or Ayub Jabari or anyone else in that. So in terms of being
more
able to
than Dotto.
I mean, you can wake me when Dotto is out a one goal per game clip, which is where our man Brenner is right now.
He is still the third highest goal scorer on this team.
At this rate, not too long.
We'll see.
Yeah, no, that's.
I'm clinging to that for as long as I can.
Sunday night.
Yeah. So it was a front foot aggressive play with the lineup, which is it's what I wanted to see, and it's the other thing too that's interesting about this is I was considering this as well. You have a lineup here with two U22 players contributing significant minutes for this team, scoring a goal, playing really well, which just in hindsight infuriates me more that last year we didn't. Why were we sitting on all these open U22 spots? Like, these are players where if you identify good players and you make the right moves from, these are players that can give you good minutes in places.
Yeah.
Like this offseason. Wouldn't it have been great to have Sammy Gidi available from the start of the year? Because I'm sitting here thinking, boy, it would be nice that when Obi comes back, that you have the ability to take down Pavel Buka and replace him with fresh legs in the midfield after he's been running an entire season worth of soccer. Like, you have so much more flexibility because you are using all of the premium roster spots now, and you're getting good minutes out of these players. And it's just, I'm happy they're here now, and I'm happy that we've gotten the right guys in. But this shows you why, if you have the ability to add U22s, you should be adding U22s. We should have been doing this all along.
Yeah, and I think it's obviously there's challenges with getting deals done, and players being available at the right time under the terms that are appropriate for a U22 spot and fit our budget. But I think other than that kind of pushback, I think the other response to Chief would be, well, we've also signed U22s who weren't very good, right? So they're not all going to hit. But I think the response back to that is, yeah, but it's much less meaningful that you missed on a U22 when you have 4.
Right.
3 look pretty good. 1, maybe still has a future, right?
I thought looked fine to me, but I'm not in training, right?
Versus you sign 1 U22 and you don't hit very hard. Yeah, it makes them look more like crapshoots. But when you're signing players, you're more likely to find one that hits. And I don't know.
I'm going to bet on Chris Albright on these situations.
I think we're going to
bet on him finding good players.
Well, look at the 4 we have right now. Like, I think we're going to see 3 of them a lot of minutes all the rest of the year.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
and they've all played good minutes since coming in. I don't think.
Yeah, they've all played good minutes. I think all 4 of them play good minutes.
But it's like between Echenike, Mark Zook, and now Gidi in his limited time, I have not walked away from a single game that any of the 3 of them have played so far thinking that guy doesn't have a place on this roster. I don't want this guy getting minutes. You can, maybe quibble with the deployment of Echenike, and I've seen the take out there that I don't necessarily disagree with, that his best deployment going forward is as a super sub as opposed to a starter. I'll hear arguments either way. I think it's too soon to make that determination. But I've never walked away from an Echenike game thinking, man, I don't want to see more of this as he blazes past people down the sidelines.
Yeah,
the hit rate has been really good so far. And if this team is going to advance in the playoffs, or if this team ends up winning Shield, it's going to be because they were getting significant minutes and good contributions from these spots, these U22s, these youth players.
Completely agree. I do think part of the reason why, just to look at the lineup, why Echenike is here instead of Mark Zook is Markzuk is an incredible crosser of the ball. That has been his primary skill before he got here. That has been primarily how he's been used while here. I think that skill set makes more sense with Jabari up top, being that he is just so big. We saw it in Galaxy's first goal, sort of the ideal of what that looks like. I think it makes sense to have them both on the field at the same time, which is why last week they started together and why this week they sub in together. So I suspect they're a package deal, barring, something more dramatic going forward there. But yeah, Chief, like to your point, I was getting a kick out of this. If you look at the back line, including the wing backs, how we acquired every player is very fun. So Orishano was originally a loan, but then like a pretty good transfer fee to bring in a player from overseas. Lucas Engel is on loan from the championship. Nick Hagland is the hometown kid, on again, off again supplemental roster spot. Miles Robinson, the massive free agent, soon to be designated player, and Echenike, the U22. Like, we're using every variety of player across the back line. And
yes, you got a TAM player, a loan player, a supplemental roster player, a DP,
and a U22.
U22.
I think Hagland's not a supplemental roster this year, but
not this year. Was last year.
Next year
will be next year.
Yeah. It's a very like let me see the papers. Like,
right. And I think he is also like the club ambassador thing, where like a percentage of his salary is allowed to go off books.
If you consider the back line, if you consider that including Evan, then yeah, you have a TAM player,
right, DP, yeah. Now you got it.
A regular, just a
senior roster guy,
roster player, a U22 player, a designated player, and a supplemental roster player.
So the defense as a whole, is literally taking one guy who has each and every role available to an MLS roster. That's fun. This is fun.
That's neat.
Okay, I don't know if this is the dream or ideally how you do it, but it's working right now, and I think so. Let me throw out a hot take, and I know you guys will hate this. Is this the best back line of center backs, given Miazga's lack of speed?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I still think that I would still rather have Miazga than Hagland out there, because I don't know that Hagland is a huge speed upgrade over Miazga.
He was throwing a lot of elbows when he was getting beat. That is fair. I just worry that Miazga's not even in position to foul in the same situation.
I'm also like, I'm going to be a Miazga believer right up until the point that somebody tells me that the dream is over for Matt. I'm always I'm willing to engage in the belief that there's still ways for him to get better as he gets back from injury and as he gets more distance between himself and his surgery, that maybe there's something else there, or there's another gear there. Maybe not. I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to be recklessly optimistic about this, just because I've seen him play at such a high level over the last couple of years. I'm not ready to write that off at this point. But
yeah,
I thought the back line played okay with this particular grouping of center backs. I mean, even when Matt's in there, they're not immune to this, but like they have a weird tendency to switch off on crosses into the box or crosses on set pieces. And it's odd. I don't know what is going on with it. I don't know if it's confusion in the marking or confusion in the responsibilities, but the dude that scored the goal for Galaxy, like, he's just a guy, man. Like, we're not talking about Zaha or Christian Benteke here. Like,
talking about Paintsill?
Paintsill, yeah, he ain't like superstar material. Like, this is not a guy that you should lose and that this guy can like evade you. Like, this should be something that you can defend. And I don't know. It's that has to get better. And I think that needs to be something that, I don't know what you do to work on that. Maybe like, force people to watch the film Clockwork Orange style until it like sears into their brain not to do this. but it happens too often on this team.
So let's talk about that goal. So in fairness, Paintsel, very good player.
He's fine. He's not.
He's not a global superstar. I will give you that.
He's just a dude,
very,
man.
very good player. But on that goal, as you said, the cross comes in from about 20 yards out, top corner of the box. It's going opposite box. Cross is coming in right before it comes in. Nick is in the center, and he turns and points at Paintsel, which is like, usually I'm ready to blame whoever points is like the reason why that's the goal, because pointing is not defending. And the problem is he is pointing to Paintsel. Robinson is supposed to be marking him, and he is standing close to him. He is running with him.
He's in the general vicinity.
As close as it gets. He ends up right smack dab in between Robinson and Hagelin and gets a clean header. It's awkward. It goes completely across the face of the goal. Evans just slightly unable to not get to it, and it's a tough goal right there, because really Galaxy had a couple of moments here and there, but like they were not a terribly threatening team. So frustrating to see that. And yeah, you know, the guy is going to be your DP center back getting beat on a header like this. It's not exactly what you want to see.
Now, where I will give the backline credit, though, is that if you look at the shot charts for LA Galaxy, it's like a comical lack of shots in and around the 6-yard box and dead on at goal. Like, this is the only shot they take that is directly in front of goal.
Yeah.
And so the rest of the time, I think the center backs did a really, really good job, and the back line did a good job of funneling everyone outside and forcing them to take either long shots or shots at an angle that, you know, Evan could control, where he wasn't trying to defend the entire goal from directly in the center. So I think they did a good job on that. The shot chart is humorous when you look at it from that standpoint.
Yes.
Just like this vacant void area directly in front of goal. And then they took a fair number of shots. So it's like peppered from the outside, but they're all low XG, low percentage chances that they were offering there. So, but again, Galaxy is awful. Like, this is an awful team.
They are a very bad team. But that first goal, though, Echenike getting on the score sheet 10 minutes in. It's a beautiful moment. Okay. Evander finds a great moment. Evander's even directing traffic on this one. He's like pointing Ender open, and Denkey, so while it doesn't end up on the score sheet, tried his damnedest, by the way, all night to score. He does end up pulling in two defenders, and one in particular, the center back there, is right on top of him, steps closer to Denkey when Evander has the ball, opens up the space perfectly for Ender, who rushes on and gets it past the keeper there, which, in fairness, what's his name? Misevic? Am I saying that one right? Anyway, I think he got his hand on every goal like during the game.
So
maybe not the last one, but
I mean, those are like all tough saves, right? Because they were all like, well, the first two are pretty close, hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're just taking up space when you're trying to save that.
You just get big and hope they hit some part of your body. And
my man needs to get in the weight room a little bit, get a little stronger on some of these shots. That's Pavel for some workout tips.
Maybe.
True. But Ender gets on the score sheet. Pretty awesome to see that. Good to see him get rewarded for that. We saw him be very active on up top in particular, but in games past. But man, this is a good moment, and Evander gets his first of 3 assists on the night. The old assist hat trick on this one.
So, it's a nice, and the goal was started by Guidi winning the ball high.
Yeah.
And giving them ability to restart.
Yeah.
Pretty close to Ellie's goal.
But what I like about it is that it was restarted high, and then it's a break. Like the brake is on, and we're not holding the ball back. We're not taking the ball from an advancing position and pulling it to someone that's further away from goal to take the shot. And Echenique makes a clever little run here where you can just see the moment where he holds down the B button and turns the Jets on.
Yeah.
And the guy marking him is completely unprepared for the speed. Really cool, clean finish, composed finish in that moment right there. Love to see it. Love to see the aggressiveness from him coming inside, looking to receive the ball in a dangerous area. And Evander was just on point with these distributions all night. Like every one of the assists that he has, and we'll talk about all three, every one of them was perfectly weighted and placed passes. A lot of them from very difficult positions, a lot of them from while he himself was in the middle of the run of play, not from like a standstill where you can pick something out. Just world class, absolutely world class.
So good. Now, the second goal, which I'm happy to jump to, unless there's anything else we wanted to cover before then.
I do want to, we talked about it. Denkey, good hold up play. He plays a really, really nice ball to Evander that allows Evander to run onto it. And so that he doesn't have to stop, redirect himself, reposition himself. And that fluid, nice little easy touch from Denkey off the hold up it really does facilitate the attack. This is where I'm going to ask the question before we get on to the other goals, because this is his last real involvement in what we were doing. Where are we
on the first goal or the second goal? Because the second goal, he's very involved.
Denkey?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. What level of worried are we about Denkey at this point?
0. Absolutely nothing.
Not worried.
He is doing everything he is supposed to here. I think he's very close to scoring multiple times this game. It's not like he is a non-factor, and especially in the second goal, gets an MLS assist that is worthy of the MLS assist being a statistic to bother tracking. Like, he is on that first goal, he's drawing defenders in, opening up space for Echenique. If that's not Denkey, if it's Kai Kamara or Sergio Santos or Corey Baird, the defenders aren't doing that. They're playing in space.
Sure, but he hasn't scored a goal since August. It's been over a month since he's found the back of the net. He has exactly 2 goals in 2 months. Like, he had 1 goal in August, and if you go back to this time in June, he scored twice since mid-June. Like, at some point, okay, I get he's doing everything we want him to do, but my man's a DP striker. And 2 goals in 2 months for me, I don't know. Like, I need to start seeing a little more production from Kevin. I need to see the ball find the back of the net, because you're not paying him what you're paying him, and you didn't pay the transfer fee for an assist here and there or an MLS assist here and there. Like, I think it's a problem right now.
Well, so are you paying him to get individual goals, or are you paying for the team to win and look good with really good players?
I'm playing for both. I'm playing for the team to win and look really good, and also, by extension, him to score goals. Like, I'm not interested in a $17 million piece that a striker that isn't scoring goals. Like, I don't care how great of a teammate you are and what other little things you do. Like, there's lots of guys you can pay a lot less money that do the little things and free up a DP spot elsewhere.
In fairness, we have seen, no, you can't. Corey Baird, Yuya Kubo, Dado Valenzuela, Sergio Santos, Ayo Jabari, Ender Echenique, Luca Orishano. Nah, none of them gave you what Denkey does.
I am the only person on this podcast that thinks 2 goals in 2 months is not appropriate for a designated player striker.
Hang on. In September, he played 1/2 versus Nashville, and sure, the 72 minutes against LA Galaxy. That's it. I don't really hold the entirety of the month of September against him, where he's played I'll say a game and a half. He comes out in the 70th minute
Oh,
where
yeah,
he
he's
was
been
injured. Yeah. So
Two goals in 10 matches. That's, if you want to go by months, we can go by months, but 2 goals in 10 matches. 10 matches is 2 months worth of games.
I think you're looking for stuff to be mad at.
I'm not. I'm just asking, like, I am floored. No, I'm now, I asked what the level of concern is.
Sure.
And then, like, it's 0. It's like, he's not scoring. Like,
but
that's the whole point of him.
Sure. But we started the podcast off by saying that this was probably the best the offense has looked. So I'm not now going to start criticizing a third of the offense or one of the main pieces of the offense. This is what it looks like. And if that is, sure, decoy runs for Brenner, the pendulum will swing the other way. And Brenner will get all the attention. All of a sudden, Denkey will be open.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin has he's scored a lot of goals this year. And he's looked incredible in a lot of moments. And, I would love for him to have more goals this year than he has, but I'd love everybody to have more goals.
Yeah, that's just an evergreen statement about everybody.
He's going to end up with a pretty respectable season-long goal total, right? It's not going to be like a number that'll blow anybody away. It's not going to be a number that you think like, yeah, that's the best striker in the league or whatever. But I think he's looked really good his first year in the league. And I think the team hasn't often been structured in a way to kind of maximize his usage. But the other part of it, I guess, is that, we've seen worse players come in as DPs and struggle the first year and, soar the next year. And, when Sam Surridge came in the league, I don't think anybody would have looked at him early on and said, yeah, that guy's going to end up winning the Golden Boot. I think Kevin has been better from day one than Surridge was from day one. And so, I think it's way too early, given what we've seen from him, not just here, but through his career, to have any worries about him.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. So stop it, Chief.
Fuck me. I just want my striker to score goals. What do you want?
Yeah, great.
I am not arguing for him to not score goals. What I am
sounds
saying
like it's like, oh no, we don't need him scoring goals. We're cool.
Whatever is happening now, where we score 3 goals in this game and we look good on offense, I'll take it. Okay, I don't care if it's Hagelin scoring all the goals. Whatever is making this offense tick works. And I will say on this second goal, I think we have the blueprint for the Cincinnati play 2.0. Okay. And here it is. It's direct, it's quick, it's fast, it's everything Pat Noonan hates. It's lovely. The ball starts with Nick Hagelin. We start off by looking like a horseshoe of death. Hagelin passes the ball to Robinson. Miles is way out far on the right. He passes the ball a good 40 yards ahead. We asked for line breaking passes. We got one. He gets Denkey with his back to goal, back to a defender, holding the ball up, fights the defender off, holds onto the ball, slips in the perfect ball for Evander. Suddenly, Evander has 10, 15, 20 yards of open space in front of him, and we are running at the back line. Chaos is happening, and who slips in? Oh, it's Brenner. It is a perfect ball to Brenner. Brenner cuts across the box. Goal is scored. It is Miles Robinson to Denkey to Evander to Brenner. 1, 2, 3, 4, straight up the gut. There's nothing they can do about it. It's just way too much talent on the field for one team. Not enough talent on the defense. And sure, keeper gets his whole body in front of that ball. Ball's still in the back of the net. It's beautiful. It's glorious. It's everything I want.
The trigger Brenner has on this shot is incredible.
Yeah.
Like no first touch to settle, just directly at it.
That's the beauty of what Evander gives you, is he makes the rest of the team's job easier. But again, Chief, this is where I say, like, don't discount what Denkey is doing here. Like, this goal doesn't happen if that's not Denkey doing that. We have not seen another FC Cincinnati player do that since maybe Vasquez in 2022. That is great. That is good to see. So that is a lovely little bit of goal.
$17 million.
And he helps make the goal there. I'll take it. I will take it. Because think about it this way. If it's not him scoring it and it's Denkey, if it's not Brenner scoring it, it's Denkey, then the question becomes, why is Brenner on this team? Denkey is already scoring all the goals. Why do we even have Brenner? Like
it's going to be a question. It could, unless they manage to work their lawsuit magic, it could be a question at some point as to which one of the two do you want? Do you want the guy that makes the nice little pass in the midfield, or do you want the guy that makes the one-touch finish and laser blasts the ball behind the keeper?
We'll see.
Yeah. Put a pin in it.
Yeah. So, or you do both. Get both. Do both.
I would love it. But this is Cincinnati. We're not allowed to have nice things.
We're getting both.
We're gonna have both. The 50th minute, though. Speaking of getting both, LA Galaxy double yellow. It's a red card, and collectively the post Discord groaned, whined, complained. Please, God, don't let us go up a man.
We're not allowed. We know we're not allowed to score when we're up a man. That's like in the rule book somewhere. I think we broke the rules in this game. Like the rules clearly state that when FC Cincinnati goes up a man, they don't score. They're not allowed to continue scoring. They must cease and desist all goal scoring related activities.
While they do break that rule, they do at the very least maintain neutral goal differential. So nothing gained, nothing lost as far as the red card goal differential.
Nothing of value changed hands as a result of this.
I thought the ref was mostly fine this game. I don't know. Maybe I'm very wrong in that opinion. This guy does have some history around the league with some pretty rough calls. In general, I thought it was okay. There was one moment in particular where I thought, upon replay, it looked a lot better. I thought Hagelin just straight up committed the most blatant penalty in the history of the world and got away with it.
Which one was that?
It was on the breakaway where who got behind him?
He was running alongside him. They're both just the only two in the box, and it looks like
I don't think he's in the box. I don't think he's in the box when the foul
wasn't in the box. It would have been, if there would have been a penalty, it would have been like a dog because it was on break.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought
maybe I'm just misremembering it.
I thought live. I was like, oh, Hagelin's off.
Yeah, right. That's a red card.
It seemed like just live at game speed and with the far off angle on TV, it seemed like a defensive, obvious goal scoring opportunity. But credit to the ref, credit to the Apple TV crew.
We don't give them any credit.
They showed the replay, and there really was nothing in it.
Yeah,
they're both jostling with their arms. Paintsel gets into a better position. Nick does put his hands on him, but like there's no pulling, or like it's brief, and like there's no pulling or pushing.
Yeah, it's not egregious. It doesn't rise to the level of a foul.
It's very minimal contact, and so like it's one where like this is the kind of thing that isn't often called a foul, if ever.
Yeah. And this is also the moment where like I usually would then complain about that not being simulation, but it's not really, because there is contact. So you don't, it's weird.
But it's also weird. It's the infuriating aspect of soccer officiating because it's so inconsistent.
Right.
There are times where when you feel contact and go down, it's like, well, he felt the contact and went down. That's always a foul.
Right.
And then there's other times where like my man is fully able to box somebody out from getting to the ball as it's going towards the end line. And it's like, that's obstruction every other place on the field. Like you're not allowed to do that. Like you're trying to keep someone from an 8th grade CYO rebound. Like that's not legal. And then there's other times here where it's like, yeah, he feels contact, he goes down, but it's not enough to warrant a sending off and, a complete change of the game state right there. So it's a vibes call. And I'm happy that the vibe check went our way on this one.
Fair.
But I could just as easily see the vibe check going the other way, just because we've been on the wrong end of a lot of those where, well, that's always a sending off when that happens. He made contact with him. He went down. That's a good veteran move by this player you guys all seem to love, despite never having scored a goal for the Ghanaian national team.
That's the other thing that you have to take into account is if the ref calls a foul, it has to be a red.
Right.
And I don't know if that's like in the ref's head where it's like, maybe there's some contact, maybe not. If there is, it's light. I could call it a foul, but if I do, I have to bring out the red card. Is this really like worth it?
Yeah. Right. You sometimes
I've got money on FC Cincinnati. This would be tough.
You can sometimes see that mental calculation play out in real time where a ref will give a guy a yellow and then realize that's the second yellow. That's not what happened here. And you can almost tell the ref like regrets the second yellow because like that foul wasn't worth sending you off, but since I have already given you the yellow, we are in this situation together.
I've seen those where it's the ref walks over with a yellow card very emphatically, and then it takes a couple of seconds before that red comes out.
Right. Hey, yeah, and you'll even see the other team like, hey, he's already on a yellow, right?
Or he's getting it in his ear from MLS official. It's like, don't do this.
Nope. We need him.
This one, I mean, this was a clear, yellow card. Like, they didn't even really like argue it that much.
No, this is a wooden spoon second yellow. Like this is the kind of play that you make when your season is completely over, and it's like, this is the kind of things that we've done all year, and this is the reason why we're in this spot is because we do dumb shit when we're already on a yellow. Like, this is just we saw a lot of these kinds of fouls and performances over the years on this team.
We remember the 9 happened.
Yeah.
For a reason.
Yes.
Like we do remember the 9, but not everybody remembers
why we remember
tomfoolery that happened to create the 9.
It wasn't because people were hurt and we were out of subs.
No,
it wasn't. It was not heroic. The reason why we went down to 9 people.
It was because somebody had just told Roland Lamar that he was going to spend the next season in USL with that Memphis 1901 or whatever.
I'm taking these ankles with me.
It's like the story of Leonidas and the 300. It matters a lot less if like Leonidas just forgot to send the rest of his army, and it was just he accidentally only sent 300 men. It's like, well, then I don't know that you get a lot of credit here, man. That was kind of a shitty situation you put yourself in.
Like they'll count it as a fourth quarter comeback for a quarterback, but if it's like the reason you need to come back is because you just threw a pick 6,
right.
It's a little less impressive.
It's like, Custer versus Leonidas, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Oh God. But the goal scoring did in fact happen. I will say Denkey tried his ass off in getting out here. He had a couple of great shots, and a couple of moments that I thought were Brenner-esque, and just got unlucky with where the where the ball bounced with the keeper.
I want to emphasize that 2/3 of this podcast is very okay with that, and you know what? We're trying hard, and that's the important part.
I am okay with that, and I guess now's a good time to say it. Evan, I thought, played it very well. Maybe the backline let him down. I would say certainly the backline let him down on the first goal. The second goal, which we'll touch on here in a second, I don't know that there's anything you can really do about that one. But overall, I thought had some great saves in this game, some full body stretches to keep balls out. I thought it looked good.
Yeah, I thought it was a strong game from Evan. It's kind compliment to him that he looks like a MLS goalkeeper out there and made some good saves. And there's a lot of teams that happy for Evan's potential future contract aspirations, maybe not so happy for us that like him around here. There's a lot of teams that would improve their goalkeeping situation with Evan Loro on the team.
Yeah.
And that's pretty high praise for how he's played the last 2 weeks, I think.
Maybe, again, another argument for MLS should probably be looking at USL a little bit more. Not saying every guy in USL can be plug and play, but USL goalkeeper of the year seems to be pretty competent MLS goalkeeper. I don't know. Feels like a pipeline should probably see a little bit more often.
You know, I mean, a lot of teams, FC Cincinnati included, have paid a lot of money for lesser play at goalkeeper. And I'm not talking about anybody on the current roster.
Oh, no.
I am talking about where we were in the bad times.
If you had to manage one match and the lives of yourself and everyone you love hung on the balance, would you rather have Cody Cropper, Kenneth Vermeer, or Przemysław Teton between the posts for that match? You can only pick one, and they will be there the entire match. You cannot sub them out.
Teton.
I was going to say, I think I'm leaning Teton. Cody Cropper.
He saved the ball sometimes.
Right. And I don't know how much
so
is
did
Teton's...
Vermeer. The problem was it just bounced out in front of him.
Did he
and
ever?
People tapped it in afterwards.
I don't know that he saved it so much as moved it.
Redirected into the path of a different player to score.
And then Cody Cropper didn't even
that
in a non-joking way. I think
didn't
he have like 5 shots on goal, 5 goals?
I think that was the time where I was just like, I was done with the entire project. We needed to scrap everything and start over.
Was that pre-Alan Koch getting fired?
It was June 6, 2019. So I want to say it was post.
That wasn't the one where I was out. Like there was a moment, and I don't remember what it was now, where I was just like, I never want to watch an Alan Koch managed game ever again. And somehow it got worse. I don't know how. Somehow it got worse.
We had no idea how nice we had it.
Anyway, great job by Evan.
Yeah, anyway. God, usually a terrible sign if we start bringing up Teton and Vermeer when talking about your performances.
People forget Kenneth Vermeer got a ring for winning Supporters Shield.
Kenneth Vermeer, I think, was making, between various clubs, like $800,000 that year.
Yeah. Cool. I'm glad he got paid.
It might be more than Roman has made his entire career.
If I was Evan, that would be my contract negotiating strategy when I go in the offseason. Like, do you know how much money you paid Kenneth Vermeer to play on this team? There's got to be something available for me.
Evan was good. After his last appearance, I started watching, his little interactions with his teammates after shots were blocked or missed, or after a good defensive play, and they were very good.
Yeah.
And the third goal was incredible.
Yeah.
Brenner is sick with it. That's just
what a hit with his left foot there.
So it's just incredible timing as well for both him and Evander. Just like timing that run perfectly. Again, LA's keeper gets a hand to it, deflects right on in. It's tough. This is after, too, by the way, maybe a couple of minutes before Evander has a goal waved off. Unfortunately, I have to say correctly, but it was a hell of a goal.
Yeah.
Like that would have been one of his all-time highlights here. That wasn't just a shot from distance. But no, to follow it up with this, like timing this run perfectly, everybody's crashing the boards here. It's awesome. Like if this is not a goal and it's deflected,
it's a putback immediately.
It's still a goal. Yeah. Like this is very well done by everybody. And this is something, Chief, that you brought up is not always the case with an FC Cincinnati offense. It's usually Kevin Denkey in the box by himself, surrounded by 9 guys, and Evander slipping him, sure, a great ball, but like gets the shot off, it's blocked, it's dribbled back into the box, and there's just nobody else to be able to help there. No. That's not the case here on this last one.
And like, you're up a man. You can go ahead and you can commit that extra runner to the, like, what are we doing here if you're not crashing in there looking for the opportunity?
Right. And I mean, we're winning in this game. It's the 88th minute, still looking for goals. Like, very easily could have said, they got the red card, we got the lead, we're late in the game, let's sit back, let's enjoy this. That's probably what Pat Noonan wanted, okay, to be perfectly honest. And that is not how the rest of this game went. Now, LA scores, so maybe he has a point, not to throw that out there, but it was really nice to see that put your foot on their throat moment in this game.
It was cool that it was Brenner too. The redemption arc continues. The Evander Brenner love story.
Oh.
The best love story since Titanic, many people are saying. And
not a huge fan of that comparison, but
there's room on the door for both of them in this version, okay?
I just don't want the whole thing to go down sinking, okay? That's really what I'm more worried about, is the ship sinking part.
It is Cincinnati. I'm glad they scored. I'm glad they scored the goal, because we know how these things go sometimes at the end of games, and that goal is the difference between dropping points and probably being out of the Shield race and having the margin for error when there is a wonder strike going the other direction that hits the side netting because it's so well taken.
Yeah, no, it's a tough one. It's one of those where you say, okay, like you want to be closing down the defender more, but really Orishano is like right on top of him, right? I think it's Orishano. And this is sort of the problem with closing a guy down, is if the ability to then juke you increases. And that's what happens here, is he just makes a little separation, not front to back, but to the side, just goes off to the side a little bit, curls the ball in. It's an impossible angle. In fact, Angle almost gets his head to it, in fact, and it just curls perfectly into the side netting. It's very well hit. I really don't know if I can criticize or critique any one person's moment here on this goal. Maybe you guys see it differently. He's not a DP, but like, this is the type of goal is why we invented MLS clean sheet.
Yeah, I think with the player, like I haven't gone back and looked at it too much, but if there's other things that they're thinking about in the box, like blocking a shot, like making sure that the area right in front of goal is more occupied, because it's a tough angle to take a shot, I think, even with some space. And it's a 22-year-old homegrown LA late sub taking the shot. Like, maybe if that's Diego Rossi, maybe he doesn't have that much space, right? But with this, I don't know. I think it was a nice shot. Yeah.
In general, I mean, sure, he's inside the box, but in general, you're like, yeah, man, shoot from there. Like, this is why I'm playing defense.
Yeah. When you mentioned he was a substitute, he came on as a sub for LA. Interesting substitution patterns for FC Cincinnati.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about the subs.
Yeah, Alvis Powell comes in pretty early for Nick Hagland in this match. I think Alvis comes in at around
right after the yellow.
Yeah.
So
we're not gonna worry about that. So Alvis plays the final 30 minutes of this game. Welcome back to the lineup. The on again, off again, on again, off again, injured again. Yuya Kubo comes into this game, plays out, I think, like 20 minutes of the match. And I thought looked okay. Looked like he's able to contribute, which would be I've said for a while, I think that that's a huge part of this team's ability to do well in the playoffs is, are they going to have a healthy Yuya Kubo available to deploy for 20, 25 minutes of a match that they're either chasing and they need someone else that has some, attacking and ball possession passing prowess, or someone that they're protecting a lead on and he can play in the midfield competently and do some defensive midfield duties. And, other teams leverage subs. It would be nice to be able to do that as well. And Pat's been playing a lot of the year with one hand tied behind his back in that regard, with Obi being hurt, forcing a Nunga who would be that type of player that you could put on
right
out of the lineup, and Yuya being hurt, where there's just not a great replacement for, a defensive midfielder or even like a Pavel Buka type player. So you would hope that with a healthy Yuya, Samuel Gidi, Obi hopefully coming back, that's 3 players where you will have the ability to do, if you want, a hockey line change in the midfield.
Yeah. Dare I throw Dado's name in there as well? And all of a sudden,
he's never playing for this team again.
I know, and it breaks my heart. Somebody asked, is the Dado thing a bit? And part of it is yes. Okay, everything's a bit. The podcast is a bit.
Yes.
But also, I genuinely think he's very good. And while he has played incredibly limited minutes, I think in those minutes he has looked good. And I will feel very vindicated when he eventually is sold for a decent chunk of GAM and is very good for somebody else. And maybe that GAM keeps us Brenner, and maybe that is a trade-off I'm willing to make. But right now, I really like him. I think it speaks well of our sort of development pipeline that he's doing well. And I am not clamoring for him to start over Brenner even necessarily. But what I am saying is when Anunga comes in for Evander in the 89th minute, maybe it could have been Dado. Or when Jabari goes in for Denkey, maybe it could have been Dado. Just throwing it out there. So with all of that, the Alvis Powell, I do want to talk about that. Alvis Powell comes in for Hagelin. Is that merely a right side? And Hagelin got a yellow like right before. Hagelin had been getting beat all night in foot races. I think it's fair to say Powell is faster. Do we just look at it as right side, we need that center back, or should we view Alvis Powell as being ahead of Teenage Hideby and potentially Flores, who I don't even think traveled on the center back depth chart at this point? Like, is that where we're at? I don't know.
I assume that the reason for it was that they wanted someone with some pace. Alvis has pace. You're not going to, there's very few people in this league that are going to beat Alvis Powell in a straight line speed situation. You're talking about just your real burners. So I guess that's the reasoning. Powell's right-footed, but like they've got other right-footed players on the roster. I think the question Kevin's asking really is, should we read into anything that the move there is Alvis Powell and not Teenage Hideby? Well, we know they don't like Teenage Hideby. Like, we know that they're soured on him. Yeah. So
no, then yes, Alvis Powell is higher up on the depth chart overall as center back.
Yeah, I don't think that's. I think we all kind of assumed that anyway, right?
I think it's close enough that if they're not putting the guy on the left, Powell's ahead of him. Like they could have. You could have had. Well, it would have been tough with 2 lefties up there. I don't know if they would have liked to have both Engel and Hideby on there at the same time. Like who plays where? Although I suppose you could have Hideby in the center.
In the center, potentially.
And keep Miles on the side, keep Engel on the side. But I don't know. It didn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny, but it didn't surprise me that Alvis was the move there that early.
And while we're talking about this, I feel like, no, you know what? I will start off segment 2 with that question. So I'll hold off for now. Is there anything else from this game that we want to hit on, or anything even from the post-game press conference that was?
It's endlessly funny that Pat doesn't like the fact the team is aggressive. That you can just tell in his response to questions, he wants the team to slow down and stop scoring.
The one thing I do want to mention is, aside from his play, there was a lot more videotape evidence of Brenner being like a totally changed person. This game.
Yes.
Like the interactions between players who, he never played with before, right?
Right.
Like either like after goals or like after the game, like the camera stayed on him as he was greeting all of his teammates. And, he seemed like, they're all buddies. Everybody seems to like really like each other. Everybody seems to be really happy for him that he had that good of a game.
Yeah.
And, it's very nice to see. And it's like, they got to find a way to get this guy in the team next year.
Yes. That was my big takeaway in this one. I don't know how it works.
And Brenner played great the whole game. Like he was coming back defensively late and like really bailed the team out, killed a lot of plays. And he just seemed just so dialed in, like so invested in the result.
Yeah.
In a way that you don't see a lot from, strikers period, but we didn't see from Brenner.
Yeah.
I think so much last time he was here.
Yeah. Going the full 90. I mean, he was routinely, if I'm remembering it correctly, and I'm sure somebody will correct me on this, he was not a 90-minute player for a lot of the time he was here the first time around. And the defense tracking back, Pat pointed that specifically in his press conference. And he was all over the field. And it wasn't just there wasn't any of that, I'm going to walk back on this one and, wait for the next time that there's a buildup. He was hustling, hauling down, up and down the field. So I made note of that as well. And it's cool. It's cool that it does not seem like it's just words that people are saying, because everyone has made this point that it seems like he grew up a lot and that he's matured a lot as a player.
Yeah.
There's some video. There's a lot of video, a growing amount of video evidence that seems to suggest the same thing.
So maybe this is a bad time to bring this up, but Udinese once upon a time paid a bunch of money for like a really good MLS striker. It feels like, and I'm just speaking for me here, that I've completely written off the idea that he would play really well and go back to Udinese and like make the team. Isn't that like a possibility here? Isn't it possible that he demonstrates he is in fact a changed person and then goes back to Udinese and crushes it in Italy? Like,
I think it is possible, but it feels very unlikely. It feels like Udinese is trying to move him, if not here, to at least let him showcase himself for somebody else to take him on.
Yeah.
It feels very much like they've moved on and that they've come to the conclusion he's a good MLS player. And that's not going to work for them. That they were buying him on the idea that they thought there was another level to his game.
Yeah.
And it turns out there is another level to his game. It just might not be Serie A level to his game.
Yeah, that's the exact thing I'm worried about, is he is in fact showing another gear.
Right.
But maybe he isn't, or maybe it's not enough, or maybe they've already moved on and he's just straight up financially not in their plan. So be it. Okay, let's head on over to part 2. We'll take a look at the big picture Shield race. In the meantime, listen to the next, let's say, 2 minutes. Okay. It blows my mind. It'll blow your mind. Then we'll see you on the other side. Before we go any further with the episode, I got a quick question for you. You ever heard of the U.S. women's national team? You ever heard of the U.S. men's national team? Well, then you're going to want to keep listening, because get this. We have an offer for you are not going to want to miss at the official U.S. Soccer Shop, which is where you're going to go for all of your U.S. men's and women's national team gear. The Post is going to be able to offer you 10% off any of the merchandise except for jerseys. Okay, let's not get carried away, except for kids. But there is a ton of cool stuff there, okay? They're doing a new 1993 throwback collection. You got hoodies and beanies for the fall. It's getting chilly, and you're gonna want some of the winter gear because there are matches coming up on 10/10 against Ecuador in Austin, or Australia in Commerce City. Believe me, you're going to want a beanie in Commerce City on 10/14 versus Australia. That is for the U.S. men's national team. The women, they play on 10/23 against Portugal in Chester, 10/26 against Portugal in East Hartford. Again, hoodie, beanie weather. And on 10/29, Halloween Eve against New Zealand, Kansas City, Missouri. Use promo code POST. That's all one word, all caps, for 10% off at checkout. This is a very real deal. I don't know how to emphasize that enough. This is a real deal you can use. You can go use the link in the description or use the code at checkout, and we will hook you up. So a huge thank you to U.S. Soccer, and I think you're going to have a lot of fun shopping on the official U.S. Soccer shop. And we are back, and we are back in the Shield race, baby. Oh boy, we are table watching, games in hand. Some of these teams have games in backpacks, it feels like. We've got so much to keep an eye on if we want this to go right the rest of the season. But before we get to the table question, which does kind of play into this, I want to ask a question specifically of Grayson. We don't miss DeAndre Yedlin, do we? That's really the question I want to ask. Is anybody clamoring for him? Is there a skill set that we are missing?
I will always miss DeAndre Yedlin.
I'm going to separate the player from the man here.
I don't think the team. I think the team has gotten better since he's moved.
Yeah.
I think that they've gotten more dynamic because they can do different things with that position. Whereas when he was here, he was locked on as the starter. Whereas him not being here has freed them up a little bit to do. We'll play Mark Zook there. We'll play Ender Echenike there. We'll, to a certain extent, mix and match and play matchups for what we need to do in any given game. And I just don't know that would have been the case if DeAndre was still here. I miss him though. I liked DeAndre Yedlin. I was a DeAndre Yedlin fan.
That is ultimately the problem, right? It's like he was genuinely cool. And then it was also cool to have like a veteran of the U.S. men's national team like that, a guy that I assume you guys are like me, was like following his career when he was at Seattle, and then the rumors that he was going to Spurs that then came to fruition during that 2014 World Cup. Very fun, very exciting. He looked like the fastest man on planet Earth in that World Cup. It was very exciting stuff. So yeah, no, I genuinely miss him from that perspective. But I think as a player, yeah, he very much limited what this team was able to do going forward. He couldn't cross like Mark Zook. He couldn't take guys on like Echenike.
His family, though, they are going to look so good in Deer Valley this winter. Like the ski outfits that they will put together
will be elite.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yes.
keep your eyes peeled.
Absolutely elite. It's another, what I will say about it is I miss DeAndre Yedlin, the person. I think the team has gotten more interesting and more versatile with him not being here. Having said that as well, it is going to be a very interesting offseason on a number of fronts, not the least of which is what is the team's long-term vision or plan for that right wing back position, assuming this team is, hell-bent, which we've seen no evidence to the contrary, of maintaining a back three setup with wing backs, because I think Mark Zook has played well. There's obviously issues with the 4 U22s. He seems the most likely candidate to go. We talked a little bit about what they could do in order to keep him if they like him a lot. I don't know that the solution is on the roster right now. I don't know.
Yeah, or potentially you're looking at this as a tryout between Echenike and Mark Zook. Now, granted, Mark Zook's on loan, but we've seen this team being able to and willing to move off of guys, and in particular U22 guys when they just weren't in the plan. So yeah, maybe it's sort of an open trial between them.
I think you can roll with one or both of these guys.
Yeah,
but the big question marks I think are going to be when you look at the roster overall with whoever we end up with next year, right? Because there's going to be some guys who are currently on the team, some guys who maybe you even put into your, de facto starting lineup who are unlikely to be with the team next year.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And so, with those absences, right, then how do you think about Echenique and Marksik, right? And I think that's going to be an interesting question with when we start to get a clearer view of who's outgoing and where players have to come in.
Yeah.
That'll be an interesting thing to see develop, from a total roster standpoint, because I think on the current roster, I am happy rolling with Echenique and Marksik.
Yeah. Just to say the sort of unspoken part of that out loud, if Kai Kamara and Ayub Jabari are not on this team next year, the crossing of Marksuk doesn't really seem like it makes as much. I'm not saying you can't cross to Denkey and potentially Brenner, but they're not exactly the tallest guys in the world. But then at the same time, Grayson, remind me again, the cash for works the same when it comes to a player's budget charge as if it is an overseas transfer, right? So if we pay $1 million cash for, then you have to account for that in. So, okay. So yeah. So depending on what that option is to keep Marksuk could potentially be very expensive.
Well, he would stay at U22.
Potentially. Isn't that a designation you give him? Because you could not make him the U22 and keep the designation with Echenique and the other three.
He's going to be more expensive to buy down than Echenique. Right. His salary is higher, and the cash for that's negotiated, at least that's been reported, is much higher than what Echenique's reported transfer fee was. So I would think you would buy down Echenique and tag Marksuk with a U22, which people might ask, well, he's going to be older than 22 next year. How can he be U22?
Yes. How does this happen?
And it's because you can keep the U22 designation through your year 25 season, the season in which you turn 25, as long as you remain on your first MLS contract, if you're not a homegrown, which Marksuk is not. So we don't have to go into how it's a little different with homegrowns.
Yeah.
But so as long as they don't give Marksuk a new contract, and they don't have to because it's a trade, just like how Dallas didn't give Lucho a new contract, then they can keep him as a U22 through his year. It's actually your year 26 season.
Right. Actuarially, year 26, yes.
Because his current contract goes through his entire U22 eligibility.
Which is wild. This is now we're in the weeds.
It's like 2028.
Which I don't know. Maybe you do want to like maximize the age of a player on a U22. Maybe there's some true value in that.
Yeah, you really want the real life hack is 25-year-old, 22-year-olds.
Yes. That's if the Chief, you were mad we weren't using enough U22 spots. Now we can soon be mad that we don't have enough overage U22 players.
Right. It's like why is BYU basketball so good? It's like, oh yeah, they all come back from mission and still have 4 years of eligibility left.
You're right. They all
it's like a 28-year-old posting up on an 18-year-old.
They all go on mission and they all make sure they get fully equipped weight rooms while they're out there.
So at Ohio State you can get young alumni tickets, which is like discounted season tickets to football, and they're available to you based on, if you're within so many years of graduating, you can buy them. I don't know if this is still how they work, but this is how at least they used to work. You could get them as long as you're within a certain amount of years of from graduation. And then once you got them, you could keep them for a certain period of time. Right.
Oh.
So my buddy got a graduate degree from Ohio State. And then after he graduated from graduate school, he wasn't exactly like, swimming in cash. So he ended up his very last year of like young alumni eligibility. He bought season tickets for the first time, and he's like still on them. He's still on like young alumni pricing.
Grayson, that reminded me.
So it's like signing an old U22.
Yeah. At work, I was invited to join the young professionals group, and I wrote back and I was like, guys, I apologize. I am no longer a young professional. They're like, no, young professionals is up until you're 44 years old.
Hell yeah.
I don't know that gets to count. I think you're missing the point of what that group is supposed to be.
Still a young professional. Hell yeah.
Young professional is just an unretired person at that point.
Yuppie status confirmed.
Anyway, FC Cincinnati is in the midst of a shield race. They are currently second in the supporter shield. If you break this down, I did this earlier. I don't have it in front of me. If you break this down by points per game with games remaining, I think we are projected to finish third, with Miami projected to finish just above us, but with Philadelphia winning the supporters shield, we all finish within 1 point of each other. Again, projecting out points per game and doing a little bit of rounding. This is a fun time because San Diego drew last night, or yesterday afternoon, excuse me, which was fun. Minnesota lost 3-0 to Chicago, and Charlotte's epic win streak ends at a tie with the all-time record, but it has kept some of the other competitors at bay on this one. It really feels like the race is between Philadelphia, Cincinnati, San Diego, Vancouver, and Miami. Vancouver and Miami are truly in this because of their games in hand. Vancouver has played 29 matches, and Miami has played 28 matches. Just about everybody else has played 31. NYCFC in Austin on 30, Seattle on 30 as well.
Like, they need to change the rules. Like, you shouldn't get this late in the season with games in hand. Like, this many games in hand. Like, at some point, someone should have been forcing Miami to play more Wednesdays.
Yes,
because like this is truly absurd.
It's
that we are
too hard to track.
We have 3 match days remaining for most teams. Miami has 6. That's just stupid.
It's also like, if it's not Miami and if it's another team and I hear their fan base complaining, no, it's like unfair. It's like genuinely like not sporting to do this to another team, that, oh, you're just going to play like your whole season in 1 month. Everybody else gets to stretch it out over the course of a year.
We just played our 31st game, right?
Yeah.
FC Cincinnati clinched the Supporters Shield in 2023 after 31 games.
Wow.
So, and Miami did it, let's see,
pretty early,
31 or 32 games. I can't find it at the moment, but they did it around this time. They did it October 2nd, 24. I don't know how many games in their season they were, but it's, I think, pretty impressive and fun that we have a legitimate shield race going when it in past years would be over by now.
Yeah. Was it 2022 when LAFC and Philadelphia?
Yes.
It came down to the last game of the year.
They took it to the last game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And since, I think, wasn't that the year? I think LA already had the Supporters Shield from the previous year. Mm-hmm. And so that was on site anyway to be awarded. Because somebody asked in the Discord, what happens if the Supporters Shield isn't won until decision day?
Right.
Like, so, how do they have like the presentation of the trophy? And it's like, you don't. It's
right.
Like they aren't gonna. I mean, this would be an interesting opportunity to have the shield like in a private jet and just like circling, especially if like it's 2 teams within close geographic proximity that might be winning it. But yeah, they don't. Like you'll have a ceremony at some point. I don't know when you would do it, but
presumably the first home game of the playoffs. But yeah,
I can't imagine they would do that for a playoff game. That would be awful juju.
I guess, yeah.
The year that LA had it and Philly won it was 2020.
Okay.
Where LA had it from the 2019 season. And
that's right.
There was still the Shield was still up for grabs on that last day, so it hadn't traveled to Philly.
Well,
and Philly had a Captain America shield they used as a stand-in.
Not only was it not available because it didn't travel, if I remember correctly, and Chief, you might have been more involved with this than I was. That 2020 year,
they didn't want to. The Supporters Shield Trust voted originally not to award it because the season was shortened, and
there were abandoned matches. Teams didn't play the same number of games that year. I think RSL played
they knew by then they were going to award it.
It was a late decision, though.
But they got a ton of backlash from it. Like there were people mad.
Well,
that the league was mad.
Yes,
that they
the
weren't
league was furious. And if I remember correctly, the reporting at the time was that the league was willing to stop acknowledging the Independent Supporter Shield and just award their own thing. And that is why that decision, by the way, it was a twofer. They agreed not to award the Shield, and they agreed not to award the Spoon that year, folks. They rescinded the decision on the Shield, but not the Spoon. That is important lore, okay?
Yep,
you need to remember that. It is 2 spoons, 3 last place finishes. Is a very important distinction. We respect the Independent Supporters Council here.
We're technically correct, the best kind of correct.
So yeah, I don't know. I guess Miami has it on hand. If they are eliminated at some point, I guess one of the other teams could pay to have the Shield on hand, but from my understanding, that is not cheap to do. So
no.
And also,
usually it's just mailed, like
right. It's also just like,
which always struck me as kind of weird. Like this is a multi-billion dollar league at this point. Like, cough up the cash and pay 2 people from whatever team it is to fly the Shield somewhere. Like,
yes. Even if it's just a commercial economy flight, like that's a fun story for those supporters. Like,
well, I mean, that's what happened. That's what we did last year. That was he's been on the show, Zach Blanford.
Yeah.
Like when Miami was going to win it, they were in Columbus the night they clinched, and Zach just drove the Shield to Columbus.
Yeah.
So that they could have it there. Like they were under no obligation to do that. The protocol would have been just mail it, but someone was willing to do that. So the league should just pay for that. Pay for whoever it is to fly it and have it somewhere. Like have a little more pomp and circumstance with this. Like actually have it handed off from like one group to another group. Like that would be, I don't know, treat it with a little more respect. It's it's kind of your Stanley Cup to a certain extent.
Yeah. Don's flying around anyway.
Yeah, get the PJ out. Come on.
So we look at the Supporter Shield contenders, and let's glance at the remaining schedules on. I've got 5 teams up here, but we probably don't need to look at Minnesota. Weirdly, I don't have Cincinnati's up. So looking at Philadelphia, they have a fairly easy 2 games, and then it gets hard. They get DC at DC. Then they are home to NYCFC. They finish on decision day at Charlotte. That could potentially be a toughie. They have been one of the better teams, if not the best team over the last 2 months. Of course, they lost their last game out, but you can't overlook that win streak. San Diego on their hand.
Not for nothing on DC. DC has played some good teams tough. I think they drew with Miami. They drew with Orlando. They beat NYCFC. Like they're a team where like they could sneakily make themselves a tough out for someone down the stretch.
Yeah. And at home. So, the MLS is weird about going on the road. San Diego only has 1 home game remaining as well. They are at home to San Jose, which are always chaotic nightmare fuel for defenses.
Yeah.
Then they go on the road to Houston, and then they finish up on the road at Portland, which could be a toughie. That's going to be a tough one to bounce back from. Maybe the Shield comes down to that game. Maybe they've won it already. Maybe they're out of it by then. But
the other important thing to note about San Diego is that if Vancouver wins their games in hand, they'll be at 18 wins. If Miami wins their games in hand, Miami will be at 18 wins as well. If Philadelphia and Cincinnati are both on 18 wins, San Diego 17 wins. So they are behind not only in points, they're behind on wins, which, as we've mentioned before, the actual first tiebreaker when it comes to awarding anything in MLS.
Yes.
Well, they'd have to like accumulate a win or two more to like end up with the Shield. So I don't know if it's
right.
I don't know if the tiebreaker is all that helpful until the day
it's
of.
over. Yeah. Cincinnati, you might have heard of them. They have Orlando at New York Red Bulls and then home to Montreal. Okay, I like that. I like how I'm feeling about that. Orlando is always a weird team, tough games. At Red Bulls, tough, but they are not particularly good. I don't mind Montreal at home being the decision day game. If I had to pick one, I think I might actually pick that game. So I don't mind that. Maybe I would have picked Galaxy in a vacuum, but if it had to be an Eastern Conference team, that's who I'm picking. So that's not too bad. Vancouver's where we start getting weird. Okay. So Vancouver, this is very fun. They got a bunch of games in hand. So they got Portland and Seattle back to back. They got home to Portland, on the road to Seattle. That Portland game's on Wednesday, by the way. Then on Tuesday, September 30th, they're at home to a team called Vancouver. That's right, the Canadian Championship. Very fun. Then they are home to San Jose, on the road against Orlando, October 11th.
That is, I think, canonically the second longest road trip that a team can make in MLS. I think the only one that would be longer is if they had to play in Miami.
Yeah.
That is a whale of a flight. Like Thomas Muller, there will be multiple instances where he will be shocked that they still have not reached their destination, making that road trip.
Again, I didn't make the schedule, but I'm not a Vancouver fan, but if I'm a Vancouver fan, I'm pissed at this. How is this fair from a sporting perspective? The week before, I guess you have the international break, but still, like, what are we doing this late in the season, doing such a massive cross-conference road game that, like, doesn't matter for the playoff standing? So that's weird. That's a ton of games and like good teams, not great teams. Portland, Seattle, Orlando, like those are good teams. San Jose, Dallas, those are
San Jose is, like, as we said earlier, San Jose can selectively be a problem if they decide to have one of those nights.
Yeah. And they have a cup final in there against a sub USL level team, but it's a game that these guys will have to play in. Somebody's going to have to play in it. So there will be that.
5 hours, 40 minutes airtime, Vancouver to Orlando.
They'll miss the entire block of MLS games. Then Miami is on the road to NYCFC, on the road to Toronto, get 3 games in a row at home in Chicago, New England, Atlanta. They finish up on decision day at Nashville. Could be a tough one. It's a fairly soft schedule up until decision day. We keep saying they can't win them all. I'm not sure I believe that anymore.
Yeah. I mean, they've lost games, and like DC scored on them this past weekend.
It was 3-2. Wasn't the easiest game in the world at NYCFC, which I assume is some horrific baseball field that they'll have to play on.
They're playing at Citi Field there for that game, I think.
There we go.
There was a penalty not given in the Miami DC game where a Miami player fouled a DC player in the box pretty clearly, and one of the announcers said that, oh well, the ball's he said that the VAR looked at it and had determined no foul because the ball was gone. Yep. And I'm
which
like,
is in no way the standard.
since when does the ball being gone? And I think the ball seemed inbounds when the contact happened, and we've seen so many penalties given when the ball's gone.
Yes,
but whatever. It was just funny.
They can't keep getting away with this. They're not going to do it to us again this year.
Like, wouldn't it be more of a problem if there's a foul when the ball's not there? I don't know. Anyway, I'll just throw it out there. Minnesota finishes at Colorado, home to Sporting Kansas City, at LA Galaxy. I mentioned that because those seem extremely winnable, despite the fact that Minnesota is now on a 2-game losing streak, if you include the Open Cup run that ended against Austin. But if they were to finish all 3 of those with wins, it would finish with 63 points, which does feel like the floor you will need to cross in order to win the Supporter Shield. Philadelphia is already at 60 points. Don't get me wrong, but I'm throwing it out there as those seem extremely winnable. That's sort of the last team within striking distance. That's what you're looking at there. So with all of that said, Chief, how do we feel about the Supporter Shield? Who worries you the most? Is this a would be nice? Is this a we're genuinely in it? How do we feel?
We're in it. It feels like there's a lot of moving parts to this.
It's on a knife's edge, man. Like one loss.
Yeah. And also there's a lot of teams that have softer schedules than we do. Like that Miami schedule is tissue paper soft. That's a ton of bad teams there. If they beat NYCFC in their next match, the only game of note they have left is Nashville, who may be playing for nothing on decision day because their seeding is already locked in, and they don't feel the need to push and put everybody out there for the entire 90 minutes. So
yeah.
So I think that if you had to handicap it right now, I would say Miami is probably the favorite, because if they win their games in hand, they get to 61 points and they're a point ahead of Philadelphia at that point. So we're in it, but we need help. And I don't know that we're going to get the kind of help we need. But I mean, all you're talking about really, though, is like you need one slip up from Miami.
Yeah.
Maybe game on. I don't know. I'll feel a lot better after I see us go to Red Bull Arena and win, because that's something we don't do very often.
Yeah. And Chief, to that point, Vancouver as well, if you give them wins in their games in hand, which, they have a tougher schedule than anybody, I think.
Yeah, but they've benefited from the games in hand because the team that they're putting out there is the best version of Vancouver.
Right.
They're benefiting. Every game they play after Thomas Muller was added to the roster is just doing them a favor.
Right. You give them their games in hand and they're at 58? Yeah, they're also at 61. So you need to see at a minimum Vancouver, Philadelphia, and Miami lose once.
It's hard to not think about right now is Philly's on 60 points. We're on 58. The 2 points that would have us at the top are the ones we dropped to Lucho and Dallas in the closing 2 minutes. And we said at the time, you can go back and you can listen to the tapes. We said at the time, or I said at the time, that I hope we don't look back in, several months and think about these are 2 points that really mattered in the Shield race. And right now, those 2 points matter an absolute shitload in the Shield race right now.
I completely agree. I will say you will drive yourself insane looking at every single result, every single mistake, slip up, missed shot, easy goal. That'll just be like, that is where the Shield was lost. You look at the second game of the year where we lose to Philadelphia a bajillion to 1, like that could have been the Shield race right then and there. So,
well, it's like that's like a fool's errand. Like whoever ends up with the Shield is going to have had the best season, and everybody who doesn't end up with the Shield is going to have points that they dropped that kept them from winning.
Yeah.
And that was a terrible week, where they lost to Atlanta and Dallas, or Atlanta and DC, and tied Dallas. And like those are 3 bad teams where you drop 8 points, so they'd be at like 65, right? If they win all 3, which, like, again, it's like not really reasonable to say, oh yeah, they're going to win all 3.
Yeah, they'll win all 3. Well, we're sitting here banking on all these teams also losing to these exact same teams.
But, I think everybody is going to have points that they could say, oh yeah, those were dropped, and that's why we didn't win. What matters is, and this is why this is why I'm glad we are where we are, where we're pushing for the Shield, and that it's a real race, is we want this team to look the best it's ever looked, like the day before the playoffs start.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And if they end up winning the Shield or make a real run at it, it's because they had a really strong end of the season. Because that's what they're going to have to do to stay in the race. And so I feel good about their ability to stay in the race. I feel great about winning the Shield, or even just keeping it competitive, because the most important thing is how they perform in the playoffs. And I think they're sitting in a good spot to like use these last few weeks to build on what we've seen the last 2.
Yeah. I'd agree with that. I also enjoy that, like, the drama is the supporter Shield itself. Like, obviously it's fun that we're in it, but just I'm looking at it from a league perspective. Maybe this is more of a World's Game conversation, but like there's not a ton of drama around who's in the playoffs. I mean, I guess the Western Conference is sort of a traffic jam for those last spots.
Also, Kevin,
yes,
there was a bet made on this podcast that is trending in the wrong direction for your good friend and my good friend Grayson down there, as regards our neighbors to the north, the Columbus Crew.
I have this highlighted and I pulled up their schedule. Continue, Chief.
It's being noted right now that they are currently in the play-in slot for the MLS Cup playoffs. So
this is what makes this really fun. The team that they need to watch, because essentially New England is actually not essentially, New England is eliminated right now, and therefore everybody beneath them is eliminated. A team that isn't eliminated, the New York Red Bulls, who can potentially catch Columbus, which is why Columbus...
They'd have to beat us for that to happen.
Agreed, but also...
No.
There was a moment, though, where depending on how next week goes, if say we lose to Orlando, which would be disappointing, not outside of the realm of possibility, but disappointing. And let's say Philadelphia, Miami, and Vancouver all win, I think we can confidently kiss the Shield goodbye. Do we rotate heavily against New York Red Bull so that they have a better chance of keeping the Columbus Crew out? Because decision day, who do they play? Columbus and New York Red Bull. Come on. That would be electric television if it is the play-in game to go to the play-in game for MLS Cup playoffs. It's very exciting. Now, New York has to win all of their games, and Columbus
Has to
can't gain
lose.
more than 3 points.
Right.
So yeah, they can
So, yes.
lose in 2 draws.
So if Columbus loses next week and we lose next week,
I'm putting it out there. Now,
what if we
if the other Shield winners also lose, then everything's still the
that's
same.
true.
But yeah,
maybe in that case we want the team to be looking good going into the playoffs. Maybe we play the full first team, and if we're winning, we just have Roman fire it into the back of his net 3 times in a row. I'm like, we got everything we needed out of this game, and y'all can have it. Fuck Columbus.
The Cincy Postcast is a production of The Post Cincy. You can check us out online at thepostcincy.com. You can also follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky, Facebook, and Instagram. Twitter and Blue Sky, though, you'll find we're a little more active than the other places. We're also on YouTube, where you can listen to this episode if you aren't listening to it already. We are also putting up video content semi-regularly, including the Away Days series. We want to give a huge thank you to Jim Trace and the Makers for providing the music for this episode. They are a lovely band, and you can find more information out about them in the description of this episode. And if you happen to enjoy what you just heard, can I please ask that you like us, that you rate us on whatever app you're listening to, and maybe more importantly than all of that, share this episode with a friend. When it comes up at work, you're talking about FC Cincinnati, I say, hey, I listened to an FC Cincinnati podcast. I think you guys will like it. It would really, really help us out. Nothing helps a podcast travel more than a good recommendation from a friend, family member. That would be awesome. When it comes to the sorting algorithms that control our lives, a 5-star review would be much appreciated. Also, leaving a sort of written review weirdly does more than that. That's how the algorithms work. So maybe say a nice or a mean thing, whatever. Just as long as you give us 5 stars, that'll really, really, really help us out. And if you are looking for more MLS content, check out our other podcast, The World's Gam. Again, a link will be in the description of this episode. That is where we touch on league-wide storylines and news, and we talk about other games and a couple other teams in there as well. Think you will enjoy it if you are just dipping your toes into Major League Soccer. A huge thank you to all of our sponsors. A even bigger thank you to all of our patrons over at Patreon. But maybe most importantly, thank you for listening to this episode.